Eyes are the windows to the soul, as many say.
Every person has a unique set of eyes, and thus they have a unique soul, influenced by their lives and their upbringings.
Each of us sees differently, interprets our surroundings differently, and is subject to different meaning-filled gazes of others.
In All That Heaven Allows, directed by Douglas Sirk, Carrie, the main protagonist of the film, is similarly subject to the stares and thoughts of others.
We must preface our argument, however, with the fact that we are watching this film around 70 years after it was released, so our takes may be somewhat biased toward our modern understandings of society.
That being said, Carrie is subject to the stares of her children and her friends, who see her as a sad widow needing either a rich male companion with her supposed social ranking or a TV to keep her company.
There are the gazes of the people within Carrie's community who believe Ron, a gardener, is completely wrong for her based solely on his profession and age. There are the gazes of men, like Howard, who see Carrie as desperate or lonely simply because she isn't married.
All of these gazes form standards and norms which Carrie is expected to comply with. As Laura Mulvey explains, quote, "Man can live out his fantasies and obsessions through linguistic commands by imposing them on the silent image of woman, still tied to her place as bearer, not maker of meaning." Page 59.
Rather than asking Carrie what she truly wants, she is reduced to others' interpretations of her worth and purpose. She is there to comfort her daughter, to be a good friend, and...
Here we see another gaze introduced, Carrie's. When given a television set for Christmas by her children, she stares at her reflection and doesn't seem to recognize herself. This is similar to Jacques Lacan's proposal of the mirror stage, where an infant sees themselves in a mirror for the first time and has trouble grasping who they are.
All that reflects back at Carrie is society's understanding of her purpose and worth, rather than her own. So she seeks change, somewhere where she can find her real self, with Ron. With Ron, however, she is still subject to his understanding of her.
He convinces her that a life with him is what she needs, rather than the society which she feigns belonging to. Here, too, she is a product of his interpretations of her worth.
While it may seem that the film is based solely on Carrie, it is because of the men in her life that the narrative progresses. Carrie's own doctor, a man, advises Carrie to get Ron back. As Mulvey explains, man is reluctant to gaze at his exhibitionist like. Hence the split between spectacle and narrative supports the man's role as the active one of advancing the story, making things happen. Page 63.
Ron, we would argue, is actually subject to many gazes at the social gathering where Carrie introduces him to her community. The group categorizes him as a gardener, and therefore is ill-equipped to exist among them. However, they don't confine him as they do Carrie throughout the entire film. It is the woman who must adhere to a mold formed by the gazes within her society.
This, essentially, is what Mulvey is arguing. Women, like Carrie, are used as a material for men to exhibit their scopophilic tendencies. They carry meaning, although they do not make it. We, as we watch the film, are actually partaking in a similarly voyeuristic nature, perhaps deciding Carrie's only destiny is to be with Ron.
As we watch, we partake in the gaze, forming endless layers of Carrie's identity, leaving her only with the meaning we ascribe to her.
How then, you may consider, do the gazes of others thus define our character? Simple. By what you allow them to.